The creation of this monster was the easiest thing in the world. Peoples are governed not by realities, but by myths. In all of the myths, that of the racial superiority is the sweetest. Any number of otherwise intelligent people, some of them of the highest scientific pretensions, can be found who believe that their own particular race is elevated far above the rest of humanity and is actually enclosed in some airtight compartment that keeps it free from contamination. Any number of writers can be found, like William Benjamin Smith, who will declare that race mixing does not affect the purity of the white race, since those with the slightest degree of Negro strain are classed as Negroes. As for the mixed blood, he ought never to have been. No amount of Christianity or religious training, we are informed, will give him good heredity. And this is as late as 1935 by no less than an authority than the learned Victorious Society of London, England. In short, the mixed blood is a creation of Satan. God made the white man and God made the black man, said colonial America, but the devil made the mulatto. The white race flowed from a pure source, Europe. Miscegenation with blacks there was unknown throughout the ages, we are told. It was not until the discovery of the New World that the races of men, strikingly different in appearance, came to intermix, says Crawford. Before that, he says, inferior races did mix with superior races, but both were white. Nothing, however, is further from the truth. We shall show in these pages that sex relations between so-called whites and blacks go back to prehistoric times and on all continents. Furthermore, since it is held by many that it is only the mixing of the black man and the white woman that can affect the purity of race, that it is precisely this kind that happened most in Europe. For instance, Aristotle, the first real scientist, tells of a white woman in Sicily who committed adultery with a Negro and had a daughter by him. Not that this was an uncommon occurrence in this day, but because he was discussing whether a white woman could have a black child by atavism. Adultery was then punished with death. Plutarch, first of the great biographers, speaks of a certain Greek woman having borne a black child, then being on trial for adultery, discovered herself being descended from an Ethop in the fourth generation. Wanley tells of a noblewoman who, though both she and her husband were white, had a child of color of an Ethiopian, who, when she was about to suffer as an adulteress, Hippocrates is said to have delivered her by explaining the causes of such things and by showing the picture of Ethop in the chamber where she and her husband lay, and which she seems to have strongly affected. St. Jerome says that Quintilian had freed a Roman matron charged with adultery when she bore a black child, by proving the same had been caused by seeing a black man before she gave birth. Juvenal evidently did not believe this theory of maternal impression, and advised the Roman husbands not to take away the abortive portions from their wives, if they did not want blackamoor children. He said to the husbands, "Grieve not at this, poor wretch, and with thine own hand give thy wife the potion, whatever it be, for did she choose to bear her leaping children in her womb, thou wouldest perchance become the sire of an Ethop, a blackamoor would soon be your sole heir." Martial, the great epigrammatist, also satirized this tendency of Roman matrons to cohabit with Negroes. He speaks of one Roman matron who had borne her husband 7 children, none of which is his and all of which are mixed bloods. One of them with woolly hair like an African Moor seems to be the son of Santra, the cook. The second, with flat nose and thick lips, is the image of Panicus, the wrestler. Of the 2 daughters, one is black and belongs to Crotus, the flute player. Shakespeare, drawing on Roman history, makes an empress the German wife of an emperor Santanarus, be madly in love with a Negro, Aaron, for whom she has a blackamoor child. This empress is the lovely Tamora, queen of the Goths, that, like the stately Phoebe amongst her nymphs, does outshine the gallantest dames of Rome. Among other records of that time are how a princess was delivered of a black daughter by only seeing for the first time a blackamoor while she was pregnant, and a woman who gave birth to the 3 sons at Epiphany, one of them born black like one of the 3 wise men. So much interest was aroused on the subject that the attack and defense of a woman charged with adultery for giving birth to a black baby became a popular topic of declamation. Calpurnius Flaccus, noted Rome orator of the 1st century, has left us an oration of this kind, the Natus Ethos. There was much academic discussion on the whys and wherefores of the mulatto. Herodotus had said that the semen of black peoples of Ethiopian and East Indian was black like their faces. Aristotle disagreed with him, saying it was white like that of other races. For centuries later, the partisans of the two argued the matter pro and con, and how it was possible for a white woman to have a black child. As regards the white man and black woman, there is at least one classic case. Persina, queen of Ethiopia, had a mulatto daughter named Charclea, which color is strange among the Ethiopians. The black queen explained it by saying that at the moment of conception, her eyes fell on the statue of Andromeda, Ethiopian princess, which had evidently been done in white marble. Her husband, the black king, Hydaspes, did not believe her. Perhaps if she had given more commonplace cause, such as that used by the black wives in our times, namely that she had drank too much buttermilk or had been caught in a snowstorm, she might have had better luck. This last story was written by Heliodorus in the 3rd century and is said to have been a romance. But the point so far is this: miscegenation existed not only in early Europe, but was of such proportions as to be a topic of general discussion. Later, we shall show that the same happened in Northern Europe, where the interest grew even stronger after Queen Maria Theresa, consort to Louis XIV of France, had a mulatto daughter. In the meantime, this important fact about these discussions must be pointed out. They were conducted without that animus against Negroes which is characteristic of English, American, and German writers today, especially when white women are involved. Furthermore, percentages of Negro population had nothing to do with it, as some of the ancient European cities had Negro populations proportionately as large as some of the principal Northern American ones, and even Southern ones. The ancients were more concerned with the adulterous aspects of such unions than with the racial one. Class and religion, not race, were then the legal barriers in marriage.